There is a sound that comes out of the 5.3 and 6.2 that every GMC forum will tell you is normal valve lash. It is not valve lash. It is a collapsing lifter, and the difference between hearing that tick and acting on it versus hearing it and going back to reading threads is roughly $7,500. Same truck, same tick. One owner catches a $1,500 repair. The other catches a $9,000 engine replacement. And before we even get to the lifter conversation, there is a chapter in this video about a manufacturing defect inside the 6.2 L87 that put machining debris directly into crankshaft oil galleries before the truck ever left the factory. Some of those engines failed before the owner put 20 miles on them. Let me walk you through the real risks inside AFM and DFM, what actually causes failures, what you can do about it right now, and who should honestly just skip the V8 entirely. 7 chapters. Everything you need to protect your investment or buy the right truck in the first place. The first thing you need to understand is the mechanism, because if you do not understand exactly how these lifters work, you will never understand why they fail. AFM, active fuel management, does one thing. Under light load, it shuts down 4 cylinders completely. Cylinders 1, 4, 6, and 7 go dark. The intake and exhaust valves stop moving. The engine runs on 4 cylinders and burns less fuel. That is the whole idea. Estimated fuel economy improvement across EPA test cycles runs between 5.5% and 7.5%. Not nothing, but not transformational either. DFM, dynamic fuel management, takes that concept and multiplies it by 17. Not 8 cylinders or 4 cylinders. 17 distinct deactivation patterns. Any cylinder, any combination, any number from 2 to 8. The controller that manages this runs calculations 80 times per second, constantly monitoring accelerator input, load, speed, and dozens of other variables. During GM testing, a 2019 Silverado with the 5.3 and DFM operated with fewer than 8 active cylinders more than 60% of the time. 60% of your drive. Something in that valve train is cycling that it otherwise would not. Here is what makes this complicated. Both systems use hydraulic lifters with internal locking pins. When the system wants to deactivate a cylinder, pressurized oil unlocks those pins and the lifter collapses. The valve stops moving. When the cylinder reactivates, oil pressure releases the pin and the lifter comes back to full height. Engage, disengage, engage, disengage. Thousands of times per drive. The oil pressure window that controls this runs between 27 and 66 psi, and the deactivation lifters need at least 22 psi just to release the locking pins. That is a tight mechanical margin. And it depends completely on consistent, clean oil at the right viscosity delivered at the right pressure every single time. Think of it like a surgeon whose hands lose blood flow for a fraction of a second between every cut. The motion still happens, but the precision degrades every single cycle. That is what inconsistent oil pressure does to these lifters over time. It is not a single catastrophic event. It is cumulative degradation, cycle by cycle, mile by mile. The valve lifter oil manifold, the VLOM, is the component that routes pressurized oil to the AFM lifters. It has its own internal filter, and that filter plugs up on high mileage engines, especially ones with any history of extended oil intervals. A plugged VLOM filter means inconsistent oil delivery to the lifters at the exact moment they need precision. That is a countdown timer to a collapse. Now here is where it gets more specific. Because the biggest mistake owners make with these engines is measuring oil health by miles alone. A mechanic I know who works on these trucks every week puts it plainly. Every lifter failure he has seen on AFM and DFM trucks involves high idle hours, not necessarily high miles, high hours. Direct injection engines produce combustion blowby that contaminates the oil without logging the miles that would normally trigger a change. You can have a 5.3 with 30,000 miles on it that has the oil condition of an engine at 60,000, purely because the truck spent 300 hours idling on a job site. A customer brought his 2020 Sierra in last year. He had been changing his oil every 5,000 miles, right on schedule. Clean receipts, no skipped intervals. The truck had spent most of its life idling at a construction site all day while the crew worked. By the time the tick started, the camshaft lobe was already worn. The lifter-only repair window had closed. He was looking at a full camshaft job on top of the lifter. Replacement. That is the difference between $1,500 and $5,000 from one habit that seemed perfectly responsible on paper. Here is the thing. GM recommended interval for most Sierra models runs 7,500 to 10,000 miles under normal conditions. But normal conditions means primarily highway driving, moderate temperatures, no extended idling. The moment your truck spends significant time at idle, at a job site, in a drive-through queue, in stop-and-go traffic for hours every day, you are in severe service territory. Severe service intervals are shorter. The owner manual tells you this. Most owners never read that section. The callback here matters. Remember the contaminated oil from those idle hours. It sits in the system, and it is heading somewhere specific. Keep that in mind. Now here is the entry that changes the conversation entirely. Because everything we have talked about so far involves owner behavior. This one does not. In April of 2025, NHTSA confirmed recall 25V274. The affected vehicles: 2021 through 2024, GMC Sierra 1500s, and a range of other trucks and SUVs equipped with the 6.2-liter L87 engine. Total U.S. vehicles affected: 597,630. Sierra units alone, 153,630. The failure mode is not a design flaw in the lifter system. It is a manufacturing quality failure at the crankshaft level. Engine teardowns identified two root causes. First, sediment on connecting rods and crankshaft oil galleries, tiny metal particles from the machining process that never got cleaned out before assembly. Second, crankshaft dimensions and surface finish that were out of specification when they left the factory. Once the engine starts, oil pressure pushes that debris straight into the bearing surfaces. It is not something that develops over time. It is already there when the truck rolls off the lot. Some of these engines have failed with 4 miles on the odometer. Not 4,000. 4. That is not a maintenance failure. That is a manufacturing failure that GM shipped to paying customers. The recall remedy for vehicles that pass inspection involves switching from the factory 0W20 oil to 0W40, a new oil filter, and an updated oil cap. Thicker oil provides a better lubricating film against the compromised bearing surfaces at the cost of a slight fuel economy reduction. For vehicles that have already experienced engine damage, the remedy is replacement. The 6.2 L87 engine replacement cost outside of warranty runs $7,000 to $10,000. Recall coverage means affected owners do not pay that bill directly. But if your truck falls in that build window and you have not had it inspected, stop watching this video and schedule that appointment today. This is the moment in a video like this where I want to be direct. GM built 500,000 trucks with machining debris inside the engines and delivered them to buyers. Some of those buyers drove a new truck off the lot and had an engine failure before they put 20 miles on it. That is not a forum rumor. That is in the NHTSA recall report, in plain language. The internet panic around AFM and DFM is sometimes overblown. This is not overblown. This is documented. Quick thing. If this is changing how you think about your Sierra or Yukon, hit subscribe. Every week I break down what to buy, what to avoid, and what to actually fix yourself versus what to hand to a dealer. It is all truck, all the time, and none of it is sponsored by anyone trying to sell you something. Now let us talk about what you can actually do, because fear is not a maintenance plan. The first action chapter starts with oil, because oil is where every one of these failure modes intersects. The factory spec for the 5.3 L84 and 6.2 L87 is 0W20, meeting Dexos 1 approval. That spec is correct for normal operation. But if your truck is in the 2021 to 2024 build window and has the L87, GM now wants you running 0W40 under the recall remedy. Thicker oil, better film strength under pressure cycling stress. For everyone else, the discipline is in the interval, not just the product. Here is the driveway procedure I tell every customer who runs one of these engines. Step 1. Pull the dipstick cold before the engine starts. Look at the color. Fresh oil is amber. Contaminated oil goes dark brown to black and may show a milky sheen if coolant has entered the system. Step 2. Smell the dipstick. Burned oil has a sharp, acrid smell that is distinctly different from fresh oil. Step 3. Check the level. Low oil volume means low oil pressure at the pickup. Tube, which means inconsistent delivery to the VLOM, which means lifter cycling on degraded pressure. This check takes 90 seconds. Do it monthly if you idle heavily. Do it every fill up if you tow regularly. Total cost of that interval adjustment, the difference between one extra oil change per year and a camshaft job. The math is not difficult. Now the early warning signs. This is the section that separates the owners who catch a $1,500 repair from the ones who catch a $9,000 engine. A ticking sound at cold start that fades within 30 seconds is worth monitoring, but is not automatically a death sentence. A ticking sound at cold start that does not fade, or that appears at operating temperature, is a different situation entirely. Do not drive on it. Do not read more forums. Get a scan tool on it. A misfire code on a cylinder that corresponds to a known AFM cylinder. Cylinders 1, 4, 6, or 7, especially if that code clears itself and comes back, is a lifter problem until proven otherwise. A plugged VLOM filter will generate those codes. A collapsing lifter will generate those codes. Neither one resolves itself. The scan tool check costs nothing if you own one, around $100 to $150 for a quality unit, or free at most parts stores. Catching a VLOM filter issue early is a minor repair. Catching it after the lifter has collapsed and scored the cam lobe is a $5,000 repair. Same truck, same symptom, different timing. And here is the action that removes the primary failure mode entirely. The AFM and DFM disabler is an OBD2 plug-in device, roughly $300 to $500 for a quality unit. You plug it in, configure it, and the deactivation system stops activating. The engine runs on all 8 cylinders, all the time. The lifters stop cycling. The VLOM stops receiving deactivation requests. The primary mechanical stress that leads to lifter collapse is removed. Paying $300 to $500 to eliminate the known failure mode from a $40,000 asset is not an upgrade. It is insurance with a better payout ratio than most policies you actually buy. The fuel economy hit is real, a few percent under light load. For most owners running these trucks the way they are actually used, that hit is negligible. For the owner who just wants the truck to run right and not generate a $5,000 repair bill at 100,000 miles, that math resolves itself in the first prevented lifter job. A well-maintained 2017 5.3 with an AFM disabler tune and consistent severe service oil changes has been documented running clean, quiet, and oil consumption free past 8 years of ownership. That is not luck. That is a disciplined owner who understood the system and removed the variable they could control. Now, who should actually buy the V8 in the first place? If you are a primarily highway driver, moderate towing, oil changes on a disciplined schedule, and you understand how to monitor for early symptoms, the 5.3 and 6.2 with AFM or DFM are engines that have carried owners past 200,000 miles. Multiple independent owner reports document AFM-equipped trucks at 150,000 miles and beyond with zero lifter issues. The platform is not doomed. It requires awareness that a simpler engine does not. If you idle for hours every day, if your truck sits running at a work site, if you spend 3 hours a day in stop-and-go traffic, if your driving pattern would trigger severe service classification under GM own definition, the 3-liter Duramax diesel in the Sierra 1500 changes the equation completely. Diesel engines are not susceptible to this style of valve train failure. They are built for exactly the duty cycle that destroys gasoline, direct injection engines running cylinder, deactivation under oil contamination from idle hours. If you want V8 power without the complexity overhead, the 2.7-liter Turbomax 4-cylinder delivers 260 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque without a single deactivation lifter in the block. No VLOM, no AFM, no DFM, no locking pins cycling on pressurized oil 80 times per second. A mechanically simpler engine for owners who want power without the maintenance discipline the V8 system demands. The verdict on the V8 is not that it is bad. The 6.2 L87 at 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque is a genuinely strong engine. The 5.3 L84 at 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet is one of the most proven small block architectures in the history of American trucks. Both engines have carried owners to 300,000 miles under the right conditions. The condition is not luck. The condition is that you understand what the system demands. You run the right oil on the right interval for your actual use case. You listen for early symptoms instead of dismissing them. And if the math on a disabler makes sense for your situation, you act on it before you need it. 200,000 miles is not a fantasy on these engines. It is a maintenance plan. The owners who get there are not the ones who worried the most. They are the ones who paid attention at the right time and spent $15 on an oil change before they needed to spend $8,000 on an engine. That is the whole survival guide. The rest is just showing up with the right tools and the right information, which you now have.